You can seal coat any famous landmark. Where would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would have to say probably.
All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to 5 with T5, where we bring local business owners, community champions, and all-around amazing individuals on the show to learn about their stories or business in a quick and effective way. My name is Stephen Turnbull with T5 Insurance, your host, and I am joined by Anthony Giglio, who is the owner of Three Brothers Sealcoating. How are we doing today, Anthony?
Steven, what's going on? I appreciate you having me on.
Looking forward to this for a long time, my friend. Appreciate you being here.
I
As you know,
know.
we're going to start the clock with 5 rapid-fire questions to warm up, and then we'll get into learning more about you. Question number 1, you ready?
Of course.
You can seal coat any famous landmark. Where would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, hmm. I would have to say probably somewhere in Washington, D.C. I'd say like the White House or something, you know what I
That'd be a nice
mean?
job.
Make a staple of it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone will see it, and you know what I mean? When you drive past the White House, I don't know if you've ever been, but you see the lawns cut nice. They got the stripes, they got the fountain, they got the flowers. You know, all they need is a seal coat job and some stripes. You know what I mean? So
That's
I,
right.
I would probably have to say the White House.
I like it.
Yeah.
Number 2, with the 3 brothers, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone that's starting a family business? First thing to
Starting
come
a
to mind.
family business is it's inevitable you're going to argue. You know what I mean? So keep it on the business side. Don't take everything personal. When you're home from work, you know what I mean? And you know, you're eating dinner with each other, don't even talk about the business. You got to keep it personal and you got to keep it business. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
keep it professional compared to, whether, you guys are going to go fishing next week or something, go on vacations. Don't bring the business into the personal side, especially when you're involved with business with your family.
I like it. Number 3, you can add any superpower to your business specifically. What would it do?
Teleport. Teleport by far.
Oh, easy.
'Cause
That was
We,
quick
we
too.
could we could do 10 times the amount of work we could do if we could just we're done with a job, we teleport all our trucks, all our equipment to the next job, no problem. So I would
That's it.
100%. We avoid traffic, we avoid getting pulled over by DOT, weight requirements. You're in and out on the job, and then at the end of the day, you just transport right back to your shop. So I would say I'd teleport.
I don't know. It seems like you've thought about that before. There's a lot of detail
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
answer
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing as a business is we're trying to keep our drive time low because
Hmm.
the lower our drive time is from the to the next job is you could get more jobs in the day. So
Sure.
teleport for sure.
Question number 4. What's the best lesson that hustle has taught you about leadership?
I would say, oof, that's a tough one. I never really thought about that because when people are hustling, you're kind of just in the moment. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so hustle for me, what it's taught about leadership is I would just say the harder you hustle, you're going to bring on, people's energy as well. So let's say, for example, I come in every day and, I'm just dogging it, you know what I mean? My employees, my workers, they're going to think to dog it as well. But if they see me out there busting my ass, hustling, taking out the garbage when we get back to the shop, you know what I mean? That's kind of what represents, as a leader is if they can see, the top dog doing all the little things, they're going to follow you as well.
I like that.
It
I
kind of
like it a
sets a
lot.
standard. You know what I mean?
I like it a lot. All right. Last question. When you get to the job, which brother has the best playlist?
Oh, me for sure.
What you,
me,
you had to be humble about that. Yeah,
me for sure.
I love it. You
But
survived
no,
the first 5 questions.
I would say if it's not a brother, I would say it's definitely our worker Mike, Mike
Mike.
DeFazio. Shout out to Mike.
Shout out Mike. You got a
Shout out
great
Mike.
playlist,
Mike's got a
Mike.
great playlist. You know what I mean? You pull up, you're ready to roll. So yeah,
Playlist tips from Mike. You heard
yeah.
it here. I love it. All right, let's get into the business. I love your story, and I got to start by saying I've been, grateful to have a few conversations with you and sit down and just talk shop and talk small business. What
Yeah,
it's
of
like to
course.
start. We share a lot with that, and I would just want to say I think it's super inspiring what you guys have done.
I appreciate
You've
it.
grown an incredible business with the seal coating. I know there's different aspects that we can certainly talk about, but take us back to the story of where it all started. Where was the light bulb moment of like, hey, we want to give this thing a run and plan to do it and walk us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So
And I guess when you're saying that too, just give people a little background of who you are and what you do, since we didn't really hit that.
yeah. So I'm Anthony Giglio, owner of Three Brothers Sealcoating with my two other brothers, Jordan and Nate Giglio. I'm 25 years old. Jordan's 24. Nate's 23. So boom, boom, boom. So a little bit about us and how we got started. We officially became a business in 2022, but before then, our father, he has a lot of rental properties in the Utica, New Hartford, Whitesboro area. And one summer I was playing Utica Post baseball, and that was kind of just, going into college. That's what you guys do. You play sports in the summer, you go to college. So he asked us, he said, hey, do you guys have like a summer job? What are you guys doing? And I said, well, I'm going to try and apply to the Utica Youth Bureau. A lot of my buddies on the UP baseball team, they work from, I think it was like 9 to 1. They would work at the summer pools in Utica, and then we would have practice or a game at 3:30, and then we would, have fun for the summer before we all went to college. So I tried going that route, and for some reason, I don't know why, I was the only one on the team who didn't get the job. It was crazy. You figure, you get a job at the summer youth bureau, but for whatever reason, I didn't get it. My brothers didn't get anything, so he said, "Well, I need all my driveways on my property seal coated." And I said, "Oh, that's cool, but I have no idea what that is." So one day he was like, "All right, well, I'm just gonna buy the material for you guys, and then you just do it, and I'll just pay you for whatever you guys do." So we had no idea, no experience, never even heard of seal coat before he brought it up. So as we're doing, a couple of his neighbors would come out and they would approach us, "Hey, can you do mine?" And we were like, "Wait a minute, like us?" Like turning around, seeing if someone's behind us. Like, "Wait, you want us to do your driveway?" So thinking about it, I brought it to his attention. I said, "Hey, we got a lot of people that are interested in getting their driveway sealed. Like, what could we do?" He said, "Well, just learn it and get it over. Just go try and start a business. I don't know what to tell you. Just figure it out." So that summer, we ended up figuring out doing, not a lot of people's driveways and whatnot. So I ended up going to college that summer down in the University of Tampa, majored in business. In my first class, first day, you're taking all those electives, Art 101, Geography 101, and I'm sitting in class and I'm thinking, man, college is just not it for me
Mm.
at least. So I'm sitting there down in Florida thinking, if I had just applied some, more effort, more knowledge, and my brothers as well, if we all combined as a team and put in the same amount of effort, same amount of hours, how big could we actually grow this business? You know? So the next summer we came back and I told my father, I said, "Hey, we're going to grow this thing to six figures this summer." And I called him on the phone. I was in college. I remember this. I called him on the phone. I said, "Hey, we're going to do six figure this summer." And he just laughed on the phone. He said, "All right, all right. Did you do your homework today?" I said, "Yeah, all right. But I'm just telling you, we're going to do six figures this summer." And I can't remember how old I was, probably 19 or 20 years old. And that summer we came home, and in 3 months we did over six figures. So
Wow.
gross. So that's kind of how we got started. I did end up finishing college, graduating from the University of Tampa's full 4 years. So I never, what I mean, dropped out. But at the end of the day, there was a point that switched on me that I knew that we were, going to do this full time, and that's kind of how we got rolling on it.
Now, that's such an incredible story. I appreciate you sharing that. And there's a lot I want to dive into about that. But where do you think that comes from within you to have that spark? You take yourself back to sit in that class and being like, man, basically what you're saying is, I know I can do this. I
Yeah,
know my brothers and I can do this. If we just do the work, do the right thing, and do it, I know we're going to do it.
yeah.
Not everybody's wired like that. I think a lot of people never get to that point because there's self-doubt or there's the fear of what could happen or all of that. Where do you think that comes within you to say, hey, I'm going to do this because I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it well?
So I would say it's just I don't know. As far as it's just my personality, it's just who I am. I always been growing up like that. Back in elementary school and middle school, I used to sell gum to my classmates. So I've always had an ambition, to try and sell things, try and make money my way. And then also including my brothers in it, you know what I mean? And they're dedicated just as much as I am. And, we work as a team. We all understand our roles. And, we've learned that over these past couple of years, there's going to be disagreements. But as long as everybody understands their role and gets everything done, then I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah. And I think the you said it multiple times there, but the most important thing is just the communication. Like, hey,
Oh,
if we're gonna make this happen, especially with three of us, and this is how it's gonna be. Like, this is your strength, this is my weakness. You take this on, you know. So 2022 was the first year. That was the first year that you said, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna hit six figures." Was that right?
yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So tell us like the evolution from 2022 because and you guys are everywhere. It's like I'm like you
Thank
joke
you.
about the teleporting thing, but in the summertime I'm like maybe they are teleporting because I feel like I just saw them over there, now they're over here. But you guys have grown so substantially, and the business does so well, and you've gotten the awards with the chamber and all that amazing stuff. Like,
I appreciate
talk
it.
to us about that from just the 3 short years of the hard work and grit and just making it happen. What does that look like behind the scenes?
Yeah, so behind the scenes is how it's operated as technology has played a huge role for us. You know what I mean? Before, we used to just write people's names down on a piece of paper, okay, and we would just, at the end of the day, Google Maps search, okay, let's go. Okay, now we got to go to their driveway. I got to measure the square foot by with a tape measure and a walking stick. Technology has increased our business so much, in just the fact of keeping customer relationships, sending out mass bulk texts, having a nice, system on the back end that we're
Mm,
able to communicate and get renewal business tenfold of what it was is in the past.
sure.
And also with scheduling, that has played a huge part as well. So we have a system that kind of maps out a route for us every day. So we have two crews that go out every day, my crew and then my brother's crew. They man their own crew, but I just kind of give them the list and say, here's the list. This is what we're doing. If there's any problems, call me. I'll handle them. So one will start in this side of town. I don't know. Oh, let me see. My camera's right here. One will start on this side of town. Another will start on this side of town. And let's say they finish their list. They're here. My list is meeting in the middle. But then if I don't finish my list, they can always pick up my list. You know what I mean? So
Wow,
it's
that's
kind
cool.
of what we've been, before. What we used to do is I would start in North Utica, for example, and they would start in New Hartford. And then once they're done with their New Hartford list, they would just go back to the garage and I would still be out for an hour or two with my crew, and then they would have really nothing to do, whether it's just, cleaning up around the shop. Now what we do is we schedule all of our driveways in one specific area for a day. So if we're doing, 25, 30 driveways a day, they'll take 15, I'll take 15, just depending on the size. And one will start on one side of New Hartford, one will start on the other side of New Hartford. So, like we talked about before, it'll limit drive at time. And if they finish before me or I finish before them, I'm able to pick up theirs because it's so close to my original route.
Mm, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that part of it, but I assume on the other side of the client experience, it's got to be something different than anybody's ever experienced from their person that seals their driveways. I mean, I just think of that in the sense of it's write it down and maybe paper invoice or whatever to have these automations and everything. It just
Yeah.
changes the client experience, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we send text to our customers right around the beginning of March. So we're able to send out mass texts, about 2,500 texts, direct to our customers and engage in them as if it was one on one with you. So I would send you a text. Hey, Steven, this is Anthony from Three Brothers. Hope you had a great winter. Just following up to see if, how the winter treated you, or if you want to get put on the list for this upcoming season, please respond yes to this text. I keep it really short and simple.
Sure.
And what we do is all three of us is then we go through all the messages and they're filtered through a pipeline. And we're able to see it from like a Google Maps perspective. Okay, we got, you know, 9 people on Dunham Road that said yes, that are all renewals, not even counting new business. So we kind of prioritize them and get them in first on the list. So then come spring, come summer, we already know who we're dealing with. We dealt with them before. We have a good reputation with them. We like doing business with them, and then we go from there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Let me take you back to 2022 to Anthony sitting in class. What would you tell him right now?
I would first tell them, I would say buy XRP. That's the first thing. That would be the first thing I tell. Second thing I'd tell them, you, it's going to be hard. You know what I mean?
Mm,
There's not a day, it's not going to be easy whatsoever. You're going to go through days you're working 18 hours a day. You're driving all over the city. You're driving, you're sweating. It's hot, it's dirty, it's gross, and then you got to wake up the next day and do the same thing. On top of that, you're communicating with customers, communicating with new customers, sending out estimates. I would just say stay focused. If you don't stay focused and you get distracted easy, it's gonna be a hard time. So really, just staying focused is the big thing.
and what's the biggest challenge you think personally as one of the owners that you've faced with the growth? I mean, it's been substantial growth. Like you said, you're adding on these new technologies. Like
Yeah.
you just said, you have the 18-hour days where you're out there, but you got to get back to the estimates. You have this many people that want new ones, this and that. Like, what's been the biggest learning lessons around that for you?
Biggest learning lesson is just kind of delegating everything to
Mm.
the right desk. So as for
Which is
me,
extremely difficult.
it's extremely difficult for anybody who's ever delegated. They could tell you it's a lot harder than it looks. And I going into it, I never imagined we would get this big. So there was really no preparation up to, okay, I got to learn how to delegate now. And a couple years ago I was learning off the fly. I mean, now it's a
Mhm.
little easier, but it's come to the point where, like I talked in the past, my brothers and I, we've sit down, we've had a lot of conversations. Okay, Jordan, you are doing XYZ. Nate, you're doing ABC because I need to be in the office making calls, doing whatever. I can't be running to Home Depot to pick up, an extra gas can or for whatever
Right.
it is. You know what
Right.
I mean? So I would say that we just all, it's a big communication. Communication is key by far, especially, like I said, living with your brothers, working with your brothers. Communication is by far the
Yeah.
hardest.
I think one of the most important things to stress for, I know you and I understand this because we've started businesses, operate in new
Yeah.
businesses, all of that. But for people who may not, and at the end of this, when we wrap up here, I want to kind of talk to the people that may be listening to this of either starting a business, taking a career change, or whatever. It's like you can only do so much. Like I hate the idea of a business plan.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
for sure.
I like the idea of having an idea. Like I don't even want to refer to it as a business plan, but like the business plan of I'm going to get here in 1 year and two, you have no idea what's going to happen. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And to your point, you just learn as you go. And I think the first, I guess the first I don't acceptance isn't the word I'm thinking of, but for me and my journey with T5 was the first realization was like, Steven, you're gonna have these road bumps. Like it's gonna be part of it. And I think you can either just sit down on yourself or embrace them and figure out how you're gonna change that the next time as you grow. And I'm talking about like growing pains and in general as you get there.
exactly.
But for
100%.
for anybody that might be listening to this, and like I said, I just think your guys' story is so inspiring. It's so I'm so proud to know you and know your story. But for anybody who might be like, man, I like doing this, whatever that is,
Mhm.
driveway, whatever that one thing is, how can I make that my business? Like, what advice would you give them specifically?
One thing I would say back to your point about the business plan, you could write up any business plan you want, but not one business plan that either I've read, you've read, or and a group of investors read is going to show that they lose money in a business plan.
Right.
You know,
Right. Nobody tells you that part.
no,
Nobody
nobody tells
tells you.
you that part, right? Or there's an obstacle. But one thing I would say to somebody, you got to be dedicated. Growing up, I never thought I was going to be sealing driveways. You know what I mean? My mom always said, "Oh, you're going to go work a high-paying job doing this." Yeah, all right. But I would say just find out the one thing you're good at. It has to start out with one, and you just have to be the best at it first before you could start expanding. So you
Mm,
see a lot of these Instagram gurus telling you, "Oh, multiple streams of income, multiple streams of income. That's how I
yes.
become a millionaire, billionaire, quadrillionaire, whatever." But until you master that one specific thing that you are so good at, undeniably that no one else is better than you at, then you can't go out and expand.
Mm,
There's just no chance because what it's going to come down to, let's say if you're applying 10% to 10 different things, there's your 100%. You're going to have somebody in one of those 10% categories applying 100%, and they're going to smoke you out of the water, no questions asked. So I would say just whatever you want to be, whether it's cleaning or detailing cars, landscaping, mowing lawns, sealing driveways. You got to become the best in your industry, undoubtedly, before you could start expanding into other aspects.
That might be one of the best pieces of business advice that I've heard so far in 40 episodes. And because it's so powerful, because with high performers that are entrepreneurs, you want to just think of the next thing. What's the next carrot? You
Oh,
know,
one hundred percent.
I got the seal coating business. I've got 2 or 3 employees. We hit that 6 figure that I wanted to last year. Like, what's the next thing? What should I get into? Here's the problem. You can't chase multiple rabbits at the same time. They're quick.
Exactly.
You know, and I have a good friend of mine who has a very successful business and then tried getting heavy into real estate and had a realization of now the business was still successful but wasn't going the way that he wanted to because he was focusing on 2 separate things. And to your point, now his vision's 50-50
Hmm.
instead of 100% focused on that until that's where it needs to be to whatever your standard is, and then moving on to those things. It's so powerful. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great.
exactly.
Anthony, I could talk to you all day long about this, but we've definitely gone over what we usually do on the time. So wrapping up, pitch the business. Where can people find you? Check out the Instagram, all of that stuff, all the great stuff you put out there. What's the best place to get in touch with you
Yeah,
and
best
get
place.
on your list?
Yeah, of course. Best place to get in touch with us: Facebook, Instagram. We have a website. If you go to our website, threebrothersealcoating.com, Facebook, Three Brothers Seal Coating, Instagram at Three Brothers Seal Coat, Three Brothers underscore Seal Coating. You go right on there. There's a contact link. You contact, and then you can fill out a form. Call me. Submit the estimate form. We'll get in touch with you within an hour. No problem. And if you just want to talk, just talk. Give me a call.
Love it. Thanks again for being here. Everybody, make sure to check them out. Super inspiring story, and they're just getting started, I'm sure of it. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel and Facebook page. It's where we drop these episodes every Wednesday at noon. Until next time, remember the power of connection and learning from one another is what makes our community thrive. But most importantly, remember to make an impact in someone's life today, even if that's your own. Stephen Turnbull here with T5 Insurance. We'll see you next week. Take care.